Hey, everybody.
Hello there. Let's see here. Get the blue sky up and the Twitter up. And we're live here. Hello, YouTube folks. Woof a little bit here. All right. This is not good podcasting, but I'm a little slow on the draw today, so folks will have to
Oh,
bear
I
with
get
me.
it. I'm the same way.
We'll post there, post that. Let's start this shit. Microphone sound professional. Hello there, and welcome to the Old Head podcast. There's a lot of other words that are involved in that title that I shouldn't have come up with when I originally started this podcast. I think the Old Head podcast is sufficient enough, so we'll go with that. Rob Howe, joined by Mark Morehouse. Are you still in
Oh,
Washington?
still in Washington, and probably I think it's through December 2nd. And it's from this podcast straight to urgent care for some cold medicine, and they have my right ear flush because I feel like an old roadie with tinnitus right now. My right ear isn't quite working.
Well, hopefully we can get you through this thing okay. And
You bet.
if you were planning on coming back early, this snowstorm that's about to slam probably would have kept you guys away for a while anyway. Last I looked, 10 to 14 inches was the estimate. So yeah, everybody hopefully enjoyed the game today because you're going to do some shoveling and snow blowing here over the next 24 to 48 hours, which I'm sure everybody's looking forward to. And there was there was a blizzard of ass kicking. Call it the blizzard of ass kicking in Lincoln today, Mark. What was it? 40-16 was the final, and it didn't feel that close after halftime.
Boy, at first I'm like, okay, how is Iowa going to win with Nebraska averaging 7.9 yards a carry and Iowa's edge defense just getting beat after time? The running back Emmett, last name I'm blanking on.
Johnson.
Emmett Johnson, the running back, looked terrific. Quarterback quite not ready for prime time, and that kind of showed up eventually. And once again, Pelini had it figured out. They beat Iowa. I think it was 20-11 or 20-6 and 2011 when Nebraska joined the Big Ten. Pelini, they rushed, I want to say 60 times, averaged 2.4 yards a carry. And I mumble the old defensive line coach, uh,
Rick Kaczynski.
spit at our feet or toward us as he walked off the field. And that was just a beauty. But I remember this one little thing I remember. And at that point, I'm like, okay, Pelini has Ferentz figured out. Nebraska's going to beat Iowa like this forever. I was horribly wrong. Nebraska is just can't be satisfied with, or maybe Nebraska's just not, 8 wins is kind of your reality. And Iowa has kind of shaken hands with that. And 8 wins isn't the end of the world. It's not there anymore either in Nebraska because they can't get to 8 wins. Pelini was the best coach they've had. I think Rule is probably at best an NFL sort of guy looking for that NFL thing. He doesn't seem like a fit. Maybe it works. I don't know. Mike Riley was out of his element. Scott Frost had a negative IQ. They have flunked. And Ferentz, this is where you hug the Ferentz because that familiarity is really what is the number now? Is it 10 out of 11 or 11 out of 12?
I think it's 10 out of 11.
That's that. So if you would have told me after that day that, yeah, hey, don't worry, dummy, Iowa will be fine in this one, and Ferris will dominate Nebraska more than he's dominated Iowa State, more than he's dominated Northwestern, more than he's dominated some of the other Big Ten rivals that you think that Hayden didn't have a problem with,
Yeah.
but no, Ferris has made Nebraska his personal little buddy, and today there were a couple times a day when they goofed the kickoff. I thought, okay, it was a test of resolve, and then the good things kept happening. Rob, I think the big difference was line of scrimmage, defensive line, good enough. Maybe this is probably not Iowa's greatest product there, but good enough. Offensive line was outstanding, and it gave. I think all year it's given Gronowski just a good platform to launch from. And man, today I wrote, and I hope nobody took this as a slight. I think Gronowski may have worked his way up to honorable mention All Big Ten, and I mean that that's a good thing. Because if you watched the beginning of the year, you thought, "Oh my goodness," but no, now I mean he's a winner. I mean he's just a winner. The numbers aren't gonna lavish praise, but just the attitude and the toughness and the way they did use his feet a little bit. They figured that out and they made that effective. And man, Nebraska still figuring it out at the line of scrimmage after 13 years and 14 years in the Big Ten. Still haven't got it out that, yeah, it's kind of a scrimmage league still.
Yeah, and I think some improvements have been made there over the recent years, but you wouldn't have known it today. And I think it's fair to say that was Iowa's most complete game against a quality opponent, an opponent that had won 7 games this year coming into today. And, to your point in 2011, and you even fast forward it 3 years after that, the game at Kinnick, I think that was the That's Football game.
Yep, yep, yep.
And that was again Iowa making some mistakes. And it just seems since then, every game, it's just a matter of, Iowa playing very clean football and Nebraska not. And this is a terrible matchup for a team that's facing Iowa. Iowa's going to get better as the season goes on and often play its best football in November. And if you're in Nebraska, what it looked like last week at Penn State and what it looked like this week against Iowa, that's not getting better. That's getting worse. And we saw when those two things collided today, it was a mismatch for the most part, especially in the dominant third quarter, Mark, where I'll go through the numbers here. Yardage in the third quarter, 118 to 10.
Oof,
Three
oof.
rushing attempts for 10 yards for Nebraska in that third quarter. Time of possession in the third quarter, 12 minutes and 38 seconds for Iowa, 2:22 for Nebraska. Game over.
That's dominance. That's dominance right there, man.
Yeah, and like you said, it's in the trenches. It's quarterback play, and that wasn't always the case for Iowa this season. I think if you look at the Indiana game and Oregon game, the quarterbacks on the other teams were better, and the reason they won those games. Gronowski was accurate today. He was hitting passes, even that early pass to Sam Phillips that was broken up by Donovan Jones. Really great play by that guy. It was
Yeah,
still a ball that was on the money. He was
yeah.
accurate all day today. This was his best game.
I would agree. I don't know what the numbers showed. I think at one point I tracked down, Nebraska was averaging 7.9 yards a carry for a while. And I look at the box score and I'm thinking, what jumps out? Iowa's averaging 17.2 yards a pass.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting downfield, they were going vertical. I don't think Nebraska was up for that. I don't think they were ready for it. Um, I'm gonna screw up the kid's name because I'm not a beat writer anymore, but Vanami.
You got
Um,
it.
boy, oh boy, he reminds me of Kittle more and more. He's got some vertical to his game. Um, pick a running back. I really liked what I saw out of McNeil, but Moulton's fine. Um, they Jazz is fine. They seem to have a good stable there, and I did like. I think now you tell me. Remember in 2002 when they let that offensive line walk off the field together.
Yeah.
That was a picture everybody. I know that we were looking for on the newspaper big time. I think they did that again this time around, and that tells me that someone set that up. Probably maybe not Ferentz, but offensive coordinator. Somebody wanted to recognize what those guys did this year, and man, they carried away a lot more than early on than I gave them credit for. I mean, they just the kind of spine that gets you. What was the record in November now? Was it 2-2? Um, Either way, that when the offensive
Uh,
line, when the
and
offensive line has got is when Iowa has got a strong spine, it's usually because the offensive line, and nice to see that recognition. Defensively, yeah, they were kind of all over the map a little bit early, but man, they really shut the door. The play of the game probably was Scherer's hit on the special teams play, which Gene Steratore, boy, oh boy, he was almost on television. At least I thought, like lobbying for a targeting penalty. And I've seen so many targetings this year where they didn't call it because it wasn't the exact crown of the head. Okay. Well, hey, that one went your way. Take the take the cannoli, leave the gun. And that's all good. It worked in your favor. That play really just stunned Nebraska, and they could never get out from under after that. 40 points. Even when Kirk was milking it there in that last drive, they were scoring. So it was one of those days. And defensively, though, I thought Nebraska presented with Latif the run threat, the run pass option. Man, they shut down the pass, and they weren't. Nebraska was fairly one dimensional after that. And man, when you're one dimensional in Iowa, I can still hear Norm saying that. So they try to pin you there, and that they did exactly that to Nebraska today.
yeah, I think it was Jaden Montgomery had the hit on Latif early that kind of dinged him up and put him in the tent, and he wasn't the same after that. He seemed not only gun shy to run, but gun shy in the passing game, was very inaccurate. And from an offensive perspective, and I think Gronowski now has 15 rushing touchdowns in the season, which
Wow,
again is
wow.
insane. Um, I think
I would
Denard
love
Robert.
I
I
would
saw
love to
Denard
know.
Robinson has the record at 16, I believe.
Mhm. I would love to know what Gronowski finished with yardage wise. I will. So my old winter project was, kind of doing a whole bunch of stats, and one of them was keeping track of how Ferentz's QBs have done rushing. I wonder where he probably didn't pass Brad Banks, but he's got to be up there, probably number two in Ferentz era. The feet, the quarterback's feet, and we talk about Kirk being at the end, leaving the jersey in a better place. And I think a lot of that is what Lester's doing with a quarterback and mobility. Because I think in this day and age, Rob, you got to have a quarterback who can not only escape, but who can hurt another team with his run. Every announcer you hear, they talk about the numbers and how a running quarterback throws off the run fit numbers in a defense. Iowa hasn't given anybody that to sweat ever until this year, until Iowa got comfortable with it, until Lester got comfortable. Maybe Ferentz got comfortable with it, I don't know. But that changed the numbers in the rushing game enough. May so yeah, Gronowski, like I said, I think he worked his way up to Big Ten honorable mention, 8 wins. That should do that. And honestly, he's earned it. I keep comparing him to Crash Davis this year. I think I did this last week too, but just the stability he seemed to bring and the experience did pay off. Usually, when I was a beat writer, I was like, "Oh, experience, whatever." Is he fast? Can he move? Can he throw? I do think it did count for stuff for this team, and for Gronowski. I think he was a calming influence in all this.
I think, and I don't know if you caught this early in the game, and I would agree with you. I think he has had an impact beyond the numbers. Um, the first or second drive of the game. I think it was the second drive where Iowa got deep into the red zone and had to settle for a field goal, and it was on third down, and they did an overhead uh, camera angle of the receivers, who's open, and there wasn't
Yes,
anybody open.
yes,
And
yes.
we talked about that earlier this year. Is it him not seeing guys that are open? And it's probably to a degree a combination of both, but I think it was the color guy, and I apologize, I don't remember his name. For
Was it J.J. Watt?
No, I'm not sure who it was. No, it wasn't him because I remember seeing him before the game. Picture the guy. It wasn't J.J. Watt, but he was saying that, Iowa hasn't gotten to a point with its receivers yet
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
to the pass. So I think the tendency this year was to talk about Gronowski's inaccuracies, and he was inaccurate. He missed plenty of throws through the year. But it's the combination to fix that passing game that we've talked about this season. It's both. It's upgrading your receiver room, and it's also, having a quarterback that can be accurate. Now, I think Reese Vanderjee may have a chance. I think that kid may have a future after watching those catches the last 2 weeks. He was a quarterback at Central Lion. Um, what is it? Lion, George, Little Rock. So that's three towns, I think. Central Lion, George, Iowa. Don't know where that is. And then Little Rock, Iowa. Also do not. Got to be in that same Central Lion area. But yeah, he and Zach Lutmer from the same high school. That's pretty impressive when you're talking 2A Iowa football.
The announcer who that we can't remember compared Lutmer to Cooper DeJean. That opened my eyes a bit. And then what Lutmer did was, oh, he just went out there and broke up a couple passes, including a touchdown, potential touchdown pass. Would have been an incredible catch by the Nebraska guy, but he broke it up. Made plays all year. Um, yeah, where Iowa gets guys. So that's another thing. The new coaches, whenever that happens, does a guy like Lutmer get in the door in a lot of places? Well, in Iowa, Iowa knows it. Iowa knows the Northwest corner really well. I mean, you can go back to forever. I mean, there's a ton of kids from there. But LeVar Woods, he knows those guys. He's out there probably all the time. He sees those guys. I think he used to have a football camp out there. So good scouting and great finding players. Um, it feels like a lot of this team is the injuries. The injuries kind of pile up, at least a tight end, and then a kid like Vanami comes out of nowhere and just and takes off. So uh, uh, this team just not a lot of pedigree, not a lot of pedigree in this team. And did you could I don't know, Gronowski was paid, but pedigree wise, he's from FCS. So I think the Ferentz's magic power is getting his team to play beyond its pedigree. And really, in a game like this, you go into Nebraska, you look at everybody who recruited everybody, and Iowa punches them out. So really great game. I think 8-4, Rob. Probably about what you expect. They did show that graphic at the end where every game was lost by less than a touchdown. And we talked about how maybe that is the difference between Iowa and elite teams, is the elite teams have that quarterback who can drop it down the chimney when they need that done, receivers who can snag it with one hand, kind of like Vanderzee did on the goal line there. Maybe Iowa's moving toward that. But again, Kirk with putting the jersey in a better place, having a running quarterback. Iowa can't go back to, and I love the kids to death, but Spencer Petras, Stanzi, those guys, they can't go back to that. They need guys who can move their feet, and that's football. There I said it. That's football moving forward. Your quarterback is going to have to bail you out, and Gronowski did that this year.
DJ Vanami, walk on from Carroll Kemper, by the way.
Oof.
Another in-state find there, walk on, and
Yeah,
was awarded a scholarship, I believe, spring semester, maybe spring or this semester, but he is on scholarship now, and it looks like it looks
he's
like
staying.
he's earned it. Yes.
He might be TE1 next year.
Yeah, depending on how things shake out behind him. But yeah, he certainly is tracking to do that. And I thought some really uh, keen play calling today, Mark, by Tim
Yeah.
Lester on those plays to Vanami, particularly the second one where it was some eye candy, some misdirection. You saw the safety get sucked over. I mean, when they showed the replay of it and bid on the play action, and there was one play where the camera person got completely faked out by
Yep.
Gronowski and had the camera on Kamari Moulton, I think, and Gronowski was like out of the picture with the ball running for a first down or close to it. So that was an underrated aspect of Gronowski's game was the play action, and it kind of built and they kind of developed that over the season. I think people get lost on that, Mark, sometimes that you build through the season with your playbook and tendencies and things that you show the opponent that set them up. And I thought Iowa did a wonderful job today of setting up Nebraska for big plays.
I love your point on misdirection. Um, so when we were on the beat, it was inside zone, outside zone. There was not a hell of a lot of misdirection. I'm really glad to see that with Iowa too, and they kind of. I don't want to totally disregard. I mean, I think they tried, but Lester's brought a new urgency to that, and I think it's paid off. It buys you steps. It buys. Let's not. Gronowski is not. He's not Denard Robinson out there. He's a big feller at 235 pounds, and he's done a lot of jiggle there. So you do have to move the linebacker a couple of feet the other way, or maybe the safety draw them out of the other way. Get their eyes moving a little bit. Nebraska seemed really unprepared, and I wonder if Iowa didn't change a few of those things up. And it'd be fun to see, one of the beat writers. I think Chad does the DVR Monday. It'd be fun to see what percentage of inside zone and outside zone they even run anymore. I don't. They've run some inside zone, but I feel like it's more of a split zone thing now. I think
It's
that
middle. There's a lot of
yeah.
middle zone.
So I do think Lester's had an influence there, or that changes. I think just those few changes, the misdirection, uh, and then having a quarterback with some feet. I think Iowa's offense is progressing towards something. I don't want to jinx anything, but people can get excited about that kind of stuff. You probably will have a quarterback with a maybe not a better arm, maybe better touch. You'll have finer quarterbacks with probably better arm talent than Gronowski. Um, can you find the guy with that and the feet? That's another thing. But I did like how Nebraska formations tried to kick away from Weechin, but he still mattered. He's like a tsunami. He's gonna get you. And then just Ferentz at the end, the milking it and then still hitting it and then still scoring. Although one thing I thought was it number 7 who made that tackle on the
Godfrey
250. Fan, that was not a first down. That was
didn't
not a
look like
first
it.
down. And so I'm glad that drive ended up with a Nebraska fumble because that was justice because that was not and that kid, that's how you play the game, man. That was a great hit. And so but no, there's early on, a few mistakes by Iowa, but blew right through it. That fortitude, that Ferentz fortitude again, kind of showing up. Um, and now Bulls. So being retired, I do not keep track of the Bulls situation anymore. Sure feels like an Outback Bowl, but that's I'm not joking. I mean, it feels like an Outback Bowl in a good way. Like they've earned a spot in a place, however it goes. But um, exciting team. Now I can kind of see, okay, maybe this was more like the 2008 team, which went into its bowl game against Steve Spurrier and just hurt a poorly coached, disinterested South Carolina team around Tampa.
Yep, and Sean Green declaring for the NFL draft as he was running off the field in the Outback Bowl.
Surprise, surprise, everybody.
And did want to mention today that I believe one of the reasons Godfrey was in there today, number 7 for Iowa, was because Cone Entringer got knocked out of that game early. That's a big piece for Iowa's defense to get knocked out early in that game. And I thought there was an adjustment period there, but to the credit of the guys that did come in and make it, number 11 was in there too. I don't know who that is. We're bad at this.
Yeah.
But there were some backups in the secondary and on defense. And I thought as the game went on, they kind of figured it out.
Yeah, yeah. So one thing that I've always thought about Ferentz teams is that there's nobody sleeping in the film room. Everybody's kind of awake, everybody's engaged, and they make sure that it's sinking in. So, like next man in, that whole thing. Well, that starts with being prepared, being going through practice, taking it seriously, and then doing your film. Everybody, not just the starters. So credit for that. I mean, I think this team has done pretty well with adversity that way, and we are getting into names and numbers that I haven't covered. I think this is one of the first team. This is the first team that no players that I covered on it. So they're all new to me, man.
Yeah, I need the roster now more than ever. So, but that's okay. I learned
Yeah,
these guys over time, and then they go in the transfer portal, and then guys come out of the transfer portal, and I'm still trying to figure out the Iowa men's basketball team. I'm like, who are these people? I know Bennett Sturts. He's the guy that was really good at Drake, and then there's a bunch of other guys. I'm like, I don't know who these guys are. Because this week was the first time I really had a chance to watch the men's team when they were out in Palm Springs, and we can talk basketball later, but that's kind of where we're at, right? With the transfer portal, it's trying to keep up with
yeah,
who the hell is on the roster.
yeah. And so next year, maybe you go portal quarterback again. Maybe you go portal for a couple offensive linemen. I don't know. That's coming up, but 8-4 this year, probably about what everybody expected, Rob. It's easy to say that, and because it's kind of become a little bit of a joke. But when you watch the 8-4 happen, I think most Iowa fans who would go at some point this year, you probably wondered how in the hell are they going to get to 8-4? When you wonder that, how the hell are they going to get to 8-4? And when they get to 8-4, I hope it does feel a little satisfying for folks because that's the narrative. I mean, that's been the narrative. Uh, this year, I thought, eh, I don't see it, and I thought, for a while, I think we both were like, maybe this is Hayden in '98, but no. Kirk is still engaged. I don't know who he was talking to at the end of this game, but some donor type guy, but he's still engaged. He still fiery, and I did have one blue sky not come at me, but just say, "Hey, I'm thinking maybe another couple of years." I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna. I would hate to speculate because I just don't know, but uh, he's still got cussedness, and I pretty sure he said after this game what he said after the Keith Duncan 2019 win at Nebraska, which was F those guys. He probably said that one again.
Yes, and these are the ones, right, Mark, that you recruit against too, right? You're in the same living
Yes.
rooms this season. Ass whooping against Wisconsin, ass kicking against Minnesota, and an ass kicking today. Those are your three trophy. You lost the Iowa State game. That one's going to hurt. But those three are your Big Ten rivals, and Iowa dominated them this season.
There is something I think there is something to being kings of your backyard, and not for recruiting. It's just because those are the programs where there's not a lot of difference between you and them. You see success for them and you hate it. They see success for you and they hate it. So it's looking in the mirror. It's a Spider-Man thing. There's not a lot of difference between Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa State, all middle ranked teams. But for Kirk to be able to corral them like he did this year, like the Hawkeyes did this year, is that is commendable. I mean, the trophy games, don't take that for granted, you guys. That is they tromp that around too. If anybody's ever been to the complex, they keep the trophies right there, right when you walk in the door. So don't ever think it doesn't mean anything. I remember writing the story about Doyle smashing one of the trophy cases. I don't think it was really one of them. I think it was a different one, but there was definitely a smash trophy case. So that stuff all matters. I mean, And I'm glad you mentioned the rivalry games in Nebraska because that is just being able to win 10-11 against Nebraska or 11 out of 12 or whatever it is. To me, that's dominance, and you don't expect that. I mean, Iowa, Nebraska, just the via the brand game. Speaking about Rick Kaczynski, he said Nebraska was a better brand. Ooh, I'm glad I didn't say that.
Yeah, that hasn't played out. I wonder where that guy is. I wonder what the heck he's doing these days.
Security at a Target in Kansas.
Yes, that would make sense. That would
Yeah,
track, no doubt. Um, so now we kind of sit and wait here as we're talking about it, in terms of, what does he want to do?
yeah,
Because,
yeah.
the world of college football is waiting on Lane Kiffin. The kind of community of Iowa Hawkeye football is wondering about the 70-year-old head coach and what his plans are, because in this day it's always been you got to make that decision pretty quick in December because the wheels turn quick. And but now with the transfer portal, and because I'm looking at social media now, and Adam Rittenberg from ESPN, I think all he does is tweet out guys that are going in the transfer portal from all over. It's moving now. So if Kirk is going to decide one way or the other here, it benefits Iowa for him to make a quick decision. Again, it's your all-time winningest coach. Guy's been there for, you want to give him a chance to make a decision and not force it. But I think one way or the other, they should let people know, especially on the recruiting trail, hey, he's going to be here. We're going to extend the contract, whatever it may be. Those are pertinent decisions that need to be made right now.
I agree 100%. And like this week, uh,
Yes.
if there's anything with the contract, hey, we're rolling them over. Absolutely, get that news out, and then get recruiting. Um, and if it's I'm done. Phew, yeah, that probably comes after the bowl. It's tricky. I mean, I don't. I remember talking to Bowlesby, and I think it was off the record, but this is 25 years ago, so we're not going to worry about it. Uh, and he told me, I can't fire Hayden. I ain't gonna fire Hayden. Are you shitting me? No way. And I was like, oh yeah, I get it. I mean, 20 years he rebuilt the program. So no, no, you can't do that. And right. And Kirk kind of has the same gravitas in my mind. He's got, you know, he didn't rebuild the program, but he kept it afloat. He brought it through the internet age, all different iterations of recruiting, portal now. Um, yeah, I think it's healthy to let everybody know where everybody's at. Um, but Kirk doesn't do that. I mean, he goes into hiding. The hibernation thing after the season. I think he needs to be front facing a little bit this week, and I know it's a big recruiting week, but man, the what you said, okay, the future, and I wonder how many storylines will be coming out of the locker room today talking about the future because, you know, that is, I don't want to say it's existential dread, but it's a thing that everybody looks at and knows is coming. Um, And we see right now with Iowa basketball, undefeated still, right? 8-0. They're not world beaters yet that we know of. But you see the energy. You're willing to give slack. There's a honeymoon period. There's just a new breeze coming through. With football, I think it's going to be much more emotional because there are a lot of fans who I think get frustrated with Kirk, but I don't think there are a lot of fans who dislike him. And so he's got that going for him. It's a delicate situation, man. Really, seriously. Um, right now, I wish I didn't have an in with the last athletics director. I could call Bowlesby, and he would just, off the record, would just light me up, or we would exchange opinions. Um, it'd be cool to have that conversation with Beth right now, off the record. But just she's going to have to do interviews, and that's going to be a question. I mean, this is the time the AD gets to talk too, right? The season's over. I don't know what her interviewing policy is. I don't know if anybody are inside or not, but that would be a hell of an interview to have. And these are the questions that need to be asked. I mean, the future, not the bowl. I think the future, because I think everybody's thoughts are there. I mean, you you can say the fans don't matter. You can say this doesn't, this and this and this doesn't matter, but they're paying the bills, and you do kind of owe it to them, at some point, because they're your fans and you want to keep them around. So just be clear. Don't hide anything, but be clear. And I don't. I'm not accusing him of any of that, but be forward with what this is going to be next year.
And if you're wondering about the logistics of this, I agree with Mark wholeheartedly in his points. The early signing period for high school guys, December 3rd through 5th. So if you don't have a calendar in front of you, that's this coming Wednesday to Friday, 3-day window. High school kids sign. January 2nd, 2026. That's coming up in about a month through the 16th, 2-week window. Transfer portal is open. Those are the key dates. And do you want to sign a class this coming Wednesday of high school kids and then announce the next week that you're changing head coaches? That's why there's a timeline here that, and it's not, we're not pushing Kirk out the door.
No,
It's
no,
just this stage of
right,
his career. This is an annual question. This is an annual,
yeah,
what are we doing here? Especially now. Because as Mark said, do you get a quarterback in the transfer portal? Your starting quarterback is gone. You know that. You know that, what is it? Two, 3/5 of your starting offensive line is gone. Those are big things that you're having to fill here. Both of your defensive ends, Llewellyn, Herkett, gone. There's a lot of
hmm
guys that are going to be replaced here. Carson Scherer, gone. There's a lot to do here, roster management in particular, that needs to be figured out now.
hmm and yeah, I'm glad you brought up the dates. Oh man, did you like the the signing date moving up? I kind of did. I got it because it got it over with, and I didn't have to worry about recruiting then. Um, but now with the portal, so if I were the beat writer, I'd be so jelly. I would hack the portal. I would have found a way to. I would have paid somebody to hack the portal just so I could be privy to who's coming, who's going. Because that's another thing a beat writer that drives you, that makes you bald, is who's coming, who's going. And there's going to be unsatisfied guys. A coaching move is going to, could trigger an avalanche. I doubt it, Iowa. There's the one thing, people don't want to hear this, but I keep talking about fortitude, but stability also matters.
Yeah.
Um, when you have one coach, I mean, I just on the field, when James Franklin would throw his histrionics, and I'd be like, well, or no, Paul Rhodes was the best example. I mean,
Yeah.
he would go crazy on the sidelines, and then when the shit started to hit the fan for his team, his emotions did, and then the team would just go down the shitter with him. The stability of Ferentz projects matters, and this is this is program stability we're talking about. So you want to get the message out. And I'm sure, we could be talking, laughing about this right now. He could be they're probably still waiting for him to talk out there in Nebraska, because he takes his time, especially on the road, because he knows that we all want to get home, and he wants to make us suffer. But he 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 might be talking about this right now. He might say, "Yep, 2026, here we go," or the other way. So I doubt it the other way, but not in Nebraska, not there. No, that's not going to happen. But it could be it could be a check mark. I'm thinking the smart beat writers coming out of the locker room today. There'll be some bunch of pretty words about uh, uh, the game, but mostly it's going to be okay. What now? I mean, I think that's a healthy thought to have for everybody. And you're right. I mean, Iowa needs to stay in front of it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's proactive now, right? It's not Gary Barta reactive. It's got to be proactive. I get the sense that that's the major difference between Beth Getz and Gary Barta is she's constantly thinking forward, whereas he was reacting to things often, and that got him in a lot of shit. But I
Yeah.
guess the fun post game storyline right now, just flipping through this X mark, is that Aaron Graves, senior defensive tackle for Iowa, he and his wife welcomed their first child last night. So you
Wow.
have guys having kids
Holy shit.
on on the college
Good
guy.
man. He's a good man. That's yeah. But when he's 40, his kids will be out the house. That's a pretty smart guy right there. No, I always thought it was weird talking to married players. I'm like, but I respected it. That's fantastic. That's congratulations, Aaron. That's a huge damn day for you, my friend.
Grayson Graves, welcome to this world, Grayson, and good luck. Because
Go get it, kid. Go get it.
yeah, no doubt. So yeah, that's kind of an illustration of us at the Old Head Podcast. We're to the point now where we've moved on from covering this on a beat basis. Now the guys that are playing the game are having children.
Yeah, I watched the first quarter today. He's my grandson Jesse watched the first quarter with me today. It was so cute. Football. Oh, let's watch football, Grandpa. And we just sat there and he just kind of was like, "Oh, okay. Okay." Passing. He'd watched it before. 'Cause they watched my daughter's a huge football fan. But watching with him was, oh man, that felt good.
Yeah.
And Aaron, you're in for some good times, my friend.
Good stuff for from you. Put the mental picture of that, of
Yeah.
watching that with your
So, so,
grandson. And
so what do you think happens this
I
week?
don't I don't know, man. I was talking to my wife Catherine this morning about this. I was like, Mark and Pat Hardy the same way. And you were the first, like you were early this season with, I think this is it. And then Pat kind of jumped in, I think mid-season, first third of the season. And I've kind of been back and forth. I don't know. I don't have a good feel for this one. Part of it is not being connected, and part of it is just
You're right.
not, um, not ever really having a good sense for Kirk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's been kind of, he's predictable when it comes to football, but not when it comes to other aspects maybe of the program. And I think that's what's got me a little bit um, uncertain in this situation, if you will.
So if I were there, I probably would have said the same damn thing. He doesn't really give up his cards. You got to remember, when Kirk's dad passed away, what, 2004,
Four.
whenever that was.
Yeah, it was four.
Um, he did a press conference. I think his dad passed away on a Sunday. He did a press conference on a Tuesday. No one knew. And I remember Randy Peterson figured it out. I think he found it at the Obit or something like out in Pittsburgh. And like, oh shit, well that's going on. And so he's a hard read that way. I'll tell you this. I think he comes from a generation of football coaches who literally brewed coffee in their locker room and wrote plays, named plays after players that they used to have and that kind of stuff. But there's something to that grinding coffee in locker room, coaches shooting the shit stuff that, yeah, Kirk might not be able to let go of. I mean, and that's drawing up a game plan, being a team, having coordinating all that. It is an incredibly expensive skill set to be able to have the leadership and direction and be able to communicate and have 105 players or however many there are, 120, however many, do what you want to do and to motivate them the way you need to motivate, and the coaches to keep them going the way you need to. That's a hell of a skill, and I imagine it's intoxicating. I couldn't get my kids to clean their rooms. I imagine you owe 9 million, wherever the hell it is. If you can get 105 kids to follow your lead and to recruit them and keep them enthusiastic, I imagine that's a hell of a wand to put up.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think there's that component that we've, those of us that have followed sports, there are always the coach that gets to the point where you're like, is this it? And then it's that coach thinking, what do I do now? This is so much of my identity. This is my day. college football coaches put in a lot of hours. When
Yeah.
you're not the coach anymore, what are you doing with all those hours? Is that's in his head or whoever's head that's thinking about retirement is can I remove this massive part of my life and what is next? And I think I'm sure he's wrestled with that not just this year, but for probably the last several years at least.
God damn it, you hit me right between the eyes with that one. I do have that feeling like, okay, I'm a dog chasing a fender. Where's the next fender?
Yeah.
I might even go down to I hate to say this. I might go to the Galena Gazette and apply to become a part-time sports writer. I just need a little fender to chase, not a whole college football team, just one little fender. Thank you. But no, that what do you do with your time? How do you how do you communicate? How do you live? I mean, it's going to be like walking on the moon for him for a long, long time. And yeah, how can you let go? I mean, because you're so into it, you know,
Yeah.
you're so married to it. You're so you know, it's what keeps you up at night in a good way. It's what keeps you not in a bad way. It's you the triumphs. I mean, there are a ton of stories that we'll never know that coming in and out of a locker room. A kid, you talk about a kid having a baby today. Kids graduating who never thought in the world they could graduate. Just things, the achievements that these kids have, the some of the things they overcome to become Hawkeyes, to be able to participate, to become stars. Um, ho- that feeling. So I won 2 games as a flag football coach, and damn, I loved it. I was like, okay, you guys actually listen today. Hell yeah, ice cream for everybody. Uh, there is something to that. There is something to the camaraderie, and I don't want to downgrade that. I mean, that's a big thing in football, and it should be. Um, how do you walk away from that? I don't know, man. I hope he does talk to somebody close on the beat, and I hope there's a good sort of one-on-one. Hope it's fair for everybody gets a chance, all that kind of stuff. But this is a good time for him to kind of reflect and let everybody know what he's going to do.
It's that high, those things you mentioned, like the locker room and, spring football and those really when you get to dig in as a coach and there's no games, you're just coaching and teaching technique and developing guys. When
The
that goes
ritual,
away, you don't have that high. You
yeah,
don't have that high of the locker room after a big win like today. That goes away. What do you replace that with? It can be scary. And just to indulge myself, you were talking about going down to the Galena paper and getting a job. I didn't know what I was going to do in January when Hawkeye Nation let me go. I'm like, this is what I do is cover Iowa football and basketball, right? What am I going to do? Turns out I'm covering high school stuff again, and it reinvigorated me in terms of the business again, telling stories of these high school kids. And watching Iowa play UMass at the beginning of the season for
hmm
football, just no no intrigue. That the game is just minutia, right? For sports, covering state volleyball or covering the state playoffs at the Unidome, that's high drama, man. So you can get those highs in other places. And I'm not telling Kirk what to do, but he talked about getting his ass shot off going to the NFL, whatever age
at
that was.
60, at
And he
60.
and he talked at 60,
I remember that quote. I remember that quote.
10 years ago. But he also talked about just going back to high school and being an offensive line
Yep.
coach, right? And just doing
Yep.
what he likes to do. Dude, do it. Go back. Kirk Ferentz coaching offensive line at Iowa City High. He'd probably have to get out of this area, but go back to Pennsylvania and coach some high school stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could totally see that. I could also Scott and I used to on our podcast. We used to talk about Kirk coaching Brian's offensive line. Well, that's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean he can't coach a Division 3 offensive line. Any coach he calls up, they're going to be like, hell yeah, come on over. So if he and Mary retire to oh, Florida, New Jersey, I'm not sure where their heart is. Uh, Kirk, all he needs to do is pick up the phone. Hell, all he needs to do is walk over to the facility and start talking to kids. The coach will be like, "Oh shit, well yeah, hey everybody, this is Coach Kirk Ferentz. he's not looking for that though. He's looking. One of the stories that you used to tell me I used to hear a lot would be when finally he and Reese Morgan uh, got Eric Steinbach to figure out to lock his arms out. Don't bend your elbows. Lock your arms out, or something like that. Just one little success, and there they are high-fiving each other after he just does that for a couple plays in a row. And then, of course, Eric Steinbach went on to make millions in the NFL and be a great offensive lineman. I don't think he's worried about sending guys to the NFL anymore as much as cleaning up some 6 foot, 175 pound kid who say go plays guard at Prairie for high school in Cedar Rapids. He'd love to clean that guy up. So there is a football. It's just in his bones. I mean, I still have it in my bones a little bit. I imagine he can. There are ways for him, and maybe there's a plan. Maybe
Yeah.
ha, maybe he and Ken O'Keefe will run Allegheny again, Allegheny State or whatever, wherever Ken was. But um, that is the old man in the sea stuff is something that comes up to all of us, and for me, sports, the way it kept bubbling up, NIL, uh, 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 portal. One man band there at the Gazette. That was I was like, okay, I see this shit avalanche coming, and no, thank you, sir. I'm 53, and I got some health issues. I don't want to mess around with this stuff. I don't want to have to be up all night. I don't want to spend the hours. I mean, at the end there, I was probably making $5 an hour of all the hours I put in. That that gets to you want to step away, and then maybe you're ready to go again. But maybe it's this for Kirk though. Maybe it's one of those things where if I do step away, I'll disintegrate. There is that for people. I mean, you always hear about the guy, yeah, I'm retired, goes down to the beach and lays back and boom, has a heart attack. So I think probably nervous about just the future. We all are. I imagine that it's just not an easy decision. I
No.
I would want I would love to know how much Mary has to say about it. I imagine they love football. I mean, the family's gotta love football, right? So it's a part of their lives, and at some point it won't be. Um, and then somebody else will be the coach. When that's when that's why I'm really glad I'm retired, right?
And no
That
matter
chase.
no matter what happens here moving forward, it's fascinating, right?
It
Does
is.
he
It
ride
is.
off into the sunset now and we get the new era, the new guy, the new person that comes in and is the new coach, and where does it go from here? Or does he come back 71 years old, new quarterback, new offensive line, can he push this thing to the college football playoff? Because that's where it needs to get to.
Right.
That's the that's the next step for this program. You can't keep going to the Music City and the ReliaQuest Bowl, which I saw today on social media. The ReliaQuest Bowl tweeted out key games today. Top one was Iowa, Nebraska. The key games
Ooh.
that the out formerly the Outback Bowl is now the ReliaQuest Bowl was focused in on that Iowa game. They want the Hawks back in Tampa.
There are good breweries, folks. There are good breweries in Tampa. Enjoy. There's good food. Tampa's relatively easy to get around. I mean,
Yep.
you can. It's not a bad thing. So, but yeah, you bring up just the college football playoff in my mind. That is where it should be heading, and that's kind of the demand, right? That's fans love Kirk, but yeah, they want to go to the college football playoff too. I'm not saying Kirk doesn't, obviously, but progress. And have you seen enough this year? I think on offense, there's been, on my, I only have one little social media timeline anymore, and fans seem to really enjoy Tim Lester. Fans seem to like him. I've only seen a few interviews. He seems a very likable guy. Um, and he's modernized things. I mean, he's modernized Iowa's offense where in ways that it needed. I mean, obviously it needed, and it wasn't going to happen under Brian because he was going to do exactly what Dad told him to do, or the offense was doing what he wanted it to do. I don't know. We'll never know. I don't need to know. But Lester has gained, in my opinion, credibility with fans. He's an offensive coordinator who's allowed to offensively coordinate, and people have kind of are intrigued by that. And I don't know. Maybe there's an in there. I don't know, but it's it's going to happen eventually. We talk about it all the time, but it's going to happen eventually. Hopefully, there's some, like you said. Hopefully, there is a little bit of a wind in the direction this week before all the recruiting stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. We're kind of in a holding pattern here just to kind of see where things go probably over the next week or so. We talked about this Wednesday being the early signing period for high school. So who knows? There could be news coming in in the next few days. You want to get back and talk about it when something goes down? If nothing goes
Yeah,
down,
yeah. Let me know, and yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back December 3rd, I think.
yeah, so he'll be back for signing day. So who knows? Maybe we'll have information by then. But we're not ready to put the pin in the old head podcast for the
Yeah.
year. We got a bowl game coming up. We got a long month of December. We got snow coming in here where people are bored. So hopefully we can help you kind of get through the doldrums of the December in the upper Midwest with snow and all that fun stuff. But anything else you got, Mark? Anything else you want to throw out
Oh,
there, or do you think we hit it?
yeah. Just want to say again, congrats on a fantastic career to Michael Oss, and J.R. Ogden, my sports editor at the Gazette. Really sweet guy, and they were fired by the whatever company that came in and bought the Gazette last week. About about 85 years of experience between those two guys at the newspaper, maybe more. Just want to say goodbye to those guys. I think you're right. Mike's in a good place. Hopefully JR is. Just that's an era passing for me. Old newspapers, and I think of the things we used to do together. Uh, I'll tell you what though, man, don't miss driving to goddamn Nebraska on Thanksgiving. Don't miss that at all. Had a couple of really long rides home from Nebraska too on Friday. Just man, there's a town, I think it's Stewart, with a haunted hotel. Every time we drove by, I swear to God, I could hear murder. So I don't miss that. But man, I just want to say again, to those guys, good luck to you, and enjoy life.
Yeah, and we'll see if the head coach for Iowa football follows along with them. He
And
has a
Dolph, I mean,
choice.
who? And Dolph, I mean, who's not retiring? I mean, I'm not saying Dolph's retiring, but probably getting close. And who's not retiring after this game? I don't know.
Yeah, stay tuned, and we'll keep tabs on that, and we'll talk about that stuff when we come back. I don't know when that will be. I'll throw out hopefully a little bit of warning if we
Yeah,
decide to put something together here. But thanks for doing this, Mark,
you bet,
and
man.
yeah, it's been fun, and I look forward to
Yeah.
doing it more. Who knows? Maybe we'll throw some basketball stuff together this year. You never know. We're old.
I love this team so far. I love watching them. It's going to be a try-hard team. It's going to get
Yeah.
outrun and outgunned sometimes, but they're a team that I think that you're gonna want to punch in with.
Yeah, no doubt. I enjoyed watching them the other night. It's like Mark said, it's a bit of a grind at times. It's a bit of squeezing as much of the juice out of the orange as you can get. But so far, so good. And they've got some big games, some Big Ten games coming up here. Trip to Iowa State, so we'll learn more about them as well. But and
Oof,
we'll
I
find
was
out.
thinking.
We won't. We'll find out not long from now. What next Sunday? I think we'll find out the bowl destination. Again, there'll maybe news between now and then in terms of what's going on within the Iowa football program. But we really appreciate all of you folks for tuning in this year. We've had a pretty good amount of feedback that's been positive, and we appreciate the negative people not lashing out at
Eh,
us and putting up with our tomfoolery. And
it's easy to not listen. That's all I
yes,
gotta say.
yes, just move along, move along.
Yeah,
Nothing to see here, just a couple of old heads.
couple of
All right,
boring assholes.
all right, folks. Thanks for listening so much. Enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend. And remember to stretch before shoveling because you're going to be doing a lot of shoveling. All right, folks.